Max, so now we have 3 hard raids in a row, right? We should hold a second because we haven't seen the 3 hardest bosses yet. And they just nerfed Muggsy. Now, that could mean nothing. Muggsy could have been tuned for whatever, but... Like, basically, you have to try to guess if whether you think Blizzard is intentionally making these raids harder or if they're doing it by accident. I think those Styx nerfs and the Brood Twister nerfs and the Kaiveza nerfs would tell you that this is not intentional. They're just doing it by accident. So I think it's hard to tell, but you just have to see how the last couple of fights play out. Because even still to this point, we've only done like 200 or so attempts in the raid. Last raid was 1,000. You know, sometimes the last couple bosses only take like 300 or 400 combined between the 3 of them, you know. It would end up being like an easier raid. You just don't know until you see it. You doubt it's going to be easier? I mean, yeah, if you had the 4th boss take 100-ish pulls, the 5th boss take 100-ish pulls, and then we were to like ramp up in a normal raid, I mean, yeah, it'll be crazy. We'll see. We hope the raid is as hard as it can be. We have some time to make up for sure. The harder the raid is, the more chance we have to do that. Week 3 confirmed. So if one-armed dies tomorrow, so we have like maybe a couple hours of progression on it today and then a full day on it tomorrow. If that dies tomorrow, then what? We have 5 days to kill the second to last boss and the end boss. That should be killed in the amount of time that you should have at like the end of a race. Week 3 would be super unlikely. Like, you keep in mind, the only modern race world first that went to the 3rd reset did it in a very inorganic way. It wasn't like there were just too many hard bosses and it took too long. It was that they tuned the game for having double legendaries, which you didn't have until week 3. Right, and it's never happened ever besides that, right? It's still statistically really unlikely. You always play for dying this week, but it going to next week would be crazy. Would a 3rd week just be you winning on the reclear? The end of a week and going into a new week has 2 different things. So yeah, if like you ever get to a last boss, or any boss really, where like you actually just need the eye level to kill it, and then the reset happens and we just get it early, that would be insane for us. Luckily, a race has never turned out that way, but that would be some bullshit. But also the end of the week, also like the end of a singular reset would also favor you though. Like if you're just looking at what you are able to do within one reset, like EU should always end their week ahead of NA, like at the end of their reset, not like exact time compared, but like for example, the end of our reset was last night and the end of Echo's reset is tonight, or it hasn't happened, or like when they go to bed tonight. So like how much you can do in one calendar week, the person starting second should always do more. And if a race ever ended to where even if we got the reset and killed the boss, but the other guild killed it in the previous reset, I think the guild who killed it in the previous reset would technically win, right? So there's some weird shit like that, but luckily none of it's ever happened. The closest it ever almost happened was probably Sylvanas. But the start of your reset is way ahead of EU. I feel like you didn't hear what I just said. That's sick. That's hype, though. Max, if it goes to week 3, how big of an impact will be the raid buff? I mean, like 3% dam, right? It'd be huge. Oh, yeah, it would be huge. Oh, wait. That's a really good point, by the way. Because you get the stacking raid buff starting in week 3, something tells me Blizzard has a date in mind for this raid to die, and it's before next reset, because they don't want to deal with that. So if I was a betting man, I would bet on the raid being done this week. And if you want some precedent as to Blizzard making sure bosses die when they want them to die, look no further than Razageth. Because they had a set date it was supposed to die, like the holidays, it didn't die, and then they just nerfed it to where it would instantly die. So there's precedent. They will do this. But I'm also I don't really know, but I would imagine Blizzard would not want the stacking raid buff to come into it. Like imagine if the boss was tuned to go to week 3, and then someone gets a reclear and a stacking raid buff and just has the damage to kill it. Like a 3% stacking raid buff is like fucking insane. They probably don't want anything to do with that.